What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. As you can tell by the title of this video, we are going to work on the brakes on the S10. So the issue with the brakes has been there's no brakes pretty much. Foot to the floor and the truck's barely stopping at that. I mean, even shifting in gear, you have to have the brakes to the floor, and that's the only way you can shift in gear, and that's the only way the truck stopped. If you're slightly on the brakes, halfway, three-quarter on the brakes, the truck's not stopping at all. Even idling. So yeah, foot to the floor is the only way to have brakes, and we need to fix that. So we did try previously just bleeding the brakes. We thought maybe there was some error in the system or something. We did that, and all the fluid that came out is black, which the fluid's not supposed to be black. It's supposed to be more on the clear side. And we determined, yeah, we probably just need to go through and redo the system, at least give it a little touch up. So the truck is a 2002, so it's 20 years old, which is crazy to believe, but I guarantee nothing has been redone on these brakes since then besides changing pads out. So yeah, I went ahead and ordered new rubber lines to put on the truck. I also ordered a rebuild kit for the cylinders on the front calipers. I got a rebuild kit for that. I got new cylinders for the rear. I also have a new master cylinder. That way, that we're just kind of making everything and reviving it. So yeah, got all that for the truck, and I'll go ahead and show you those in a second. But before I do that, let's take a look at the truck real quick. And as y'all might be able to notice, I did put the hood on the truck, so the hood is on. I also did a few other small things that I didn't figure was really worth filming. So I went ahead and switched the alternator out for one that actually works off a spare engine we had. It's not the pretty, powder coated house encased one, but it actually works and charges the truck, and that's what's key. So yeah, I mean, it's not pretty. I'll probably do something to that in the future, but I want to get the truck going, so I just threw that one in there. I also painted the guard I made that goes in between the belt and the radiator hose. We also tried bending this tube down for the intake. As you can see, I had a piece of wood on it and put it in the press to try to squish it down. It left more of a dent than I kind of expected. The back end turned into an oval, but this part right here where we were putting pressure, where I had a 2x4 on it, it just dented it. So we have more tubing that we can work with to actually try making it look nicer, but for now, this is kind of what we're doing. You can see that the hood does still hit, and we want to push that down. It's hitting on the high spots though now, and like I said, I think once we go ahead and actually get this to come down uniformly into an oval and make something to work with that, then we'll be able to clear. But it's not bad. We can actually close the hood. So just a few touch-up items like that. You can see there's the master cylinder. If you look in, that fluid is dark. We don't want that, so we're also going to be putting new fluid in as well. I thought about it, and I didn't really want to pay for all these new parts to put on the truck, but I'm like, I might as well while I'm at it. I want everything to work. So like I said, let's look at those parts. So here is the parts. They're all AC Delco replacement parts. Go ahead through and show you what the part number's on. So you can see the master cylinder part number, flexible brake hose. So I got 2 for the front and 1 for the rear. These should be the rebuild kits here on the left, and on the right should be the cylinders. So go ahead and pop one open so we can see what everything looks like. So yeah, there's the cylinder for the rear. I'm not going to open the other one, but that'll go inside the drum brake. Oh, also forgot to mention, we tried to see if the adjusters on the drum brakes were seized, and they were not. So those were good, and the pads on the drums looked good. From what my dad said, you get a lot of the feel out of your rear brakes, so that's where we tried to look and see what we could do, and there was nothing we could do. So that is that. Open this up. a little hard to do with one hand. Pull that out, and there we go. It's 2 seals, really. Hoses, don't need to see hoses. You'll see them later as I'm installing them. And then the master cylinder. There we go. Got it. So, and there's the master cylinder. It looks all nice and new. We'll cover this later, but there is a bleed-in procedure that we want to do on this before we put it on the truck. But like I said, we'll go over that later. For now, gotta get the truck on the lift, get up off the ground, and start taking some wheels off so we can actually access where the lines are. That's kind of where I think I'm going to start, is with the lines. I mean, we're going to have to take the calipers off the front and, you know, take the drums apart in the rear. But first things first, we got to get her lifted up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Alright, as y'all can see, I took the wheels and everything off. I actually already took the front calipers off, which was pretty easy, and disconnected the line. The line, at least attached to the truck, is right here. You got a nut on this side that you want to use your inline wrenches on, and then you have the other side that's on the caliper. Put an inline wrench on this side and hold it, and then screw down with this side. Before you can do that, there's a clip. Here's what the clip looks like. That goes right here. You have to pull that out, and then you'll actually be able to use the wrenches and undo it. Then from there, you just take your caliper off like you normally do. Here is the fluid that came out of my brake system. As you can see, that is filthy and disgusting. Your fluid should not be looking like that. I don't know if you can see in there, but there's actually particles floating in there, and it's, yeah, there you go. When I move it forward and back, you can kind of see them come up, and yeah, that's not what you want to see in your brake fluid at all. So I'd say it's about due for this. Now I'm going to go ahead and work on taking the calipers apart, which should be pretty easy. So here's the caliper. We have to undo this banjo bolt. That takes the line off. Once we get the line off, then we should be able to put the end of the hose connected to the air compressor on. Put a 2x4 right here. And then, from what I've been told, very little air pressure, just a little air pressure, and the cylinder, the actual piston will push out. And then that will be out, and we can take the dust boot and the seal off from there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Also, as a note, the inline wrenches I used were 5/8 and 9/16. So those are the two that you're going to need. I believe this side, hose side, that you're going to take off, rubber hose side, is the 5/8, and 9/16 is the hard line side. So just to give y'all a little perspective on that. Alright, I went ahead and got an 11 mil socket. So there it is for you right there, 11 mil. And we should be able to break this loose. There we go. Get that out. So there's our hose off. All good there. We do have these little copper washers that you can see. We will be removing those. There should be two. One, I believe there's one here on the bolt. I can't really tell. It kind of looks like one. So the new hose comes with your copper washer, so you're good there. We're going to take the cylinder out. Oh, and actually, before I got to this point, I did use the compressor or compression tool to compress this back in so I could get all the fluid out and get all that in my bucket so I'm not making a mess right now. Take a 2x4 or block of wood, put in here. You're right, don't take a lot, but there's the single piston right there.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly how they showed it. And then the seal.
In there. Go from the top. Push behind it and pull it out.
Yep, you pulled it down.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, well, there we go. Get a lesson from the old man. Piston looks good. Nice and clean all around. Relatively speaking. No nicks, no dings.
Grooves.
Nothing, it's just smooth, so that's what you want to see. So get that set down. We want the same thing in here, and we want to clean in here very well anyway. Gonna take some brake clean and clean all of this down. Get all the old, nasty fluid and grime out. I didn't realize how simple a brake caliper was. I mean, it's just hydraulics, ain't it? Pretty much.
That's exactly what it is.
You push brake, push this. Yeah. Just looking in here, everything looks pretty good. No nicks or nothing. You're not going to be able to see on camera, but you can take my word for it. So, get it cleaned up with brake cleaner. Just spraying it down, getting all the, dust and everything off, and then I'm going to do the same thing to the other one, and I'll catch you probably after I powder coat. Alright guys, so I opted to not powder coat the calipers. I think with the wheels I have and kind of what I plan on doing in the future, it's not really relevant to do it or worth the time. Just being lazy, and I plan on upgrading to Willwood brakes in the future anyway. I just need something to get me by until then, so, or some sort of aftermarket brake. It doesn't have to be Willwood specifically, but like I said, I don't think it's worth it right now since I do plan on doing that. And the wheels I have, they just hide them anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and continue to rebuild. What the first thing to do is we have the caliper. We cleaned the bore out inside, so everything is clean inside there. And the next item we need to do is put the seal on. So from what my dad said, there is a lip on the inside of the seal that you can feel, and you want that lip side to be on the bottom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, so just want to keep that in mind. We got some brake fluid, clean brake fluid in this cap. Dip my finger in and get this seal lubed up. Make it a little easier to put in, and just, you really want to lubricate all your seals in general, at least in this application. So now we'll go ahead and put it in. Do everything by hand, just get it in the groove. It is not too difficult to do, and got everything in the groove. So I doubt you'll be able to see it, but it's in the groove right here. Alright, so this is what the seal looks like once it's in the groove. And what my dad has here is the piston. Piston's all nice and clean. He has put the dust boot on the top side, and it is ready to go in. So I'm going to take my finger, I'm going to lubricate this a little bit and put it in. Alright, and now we want to get it square with the bore. I'm struggling.
It's going.
It is. We have it started going in. What we'll do is you can use any sort of object, put it up against it, center, and then we have your brake expander for whenever you're changing your calipers out or anything. Take that, bring it up. Get everything nice and centered. And then start pushing that in. Alright, and just like that, everything is put together on that aspect. Now we need to put the new hose on with the banjo bolt. So Need to make sure that you take off the copper washers that were originally on this. So there's supposed to be two, one on each side of your hose. And that's the rear.
No.
There's supposed to be a copper washer on both sides of this. You want to make sure that you take the old one that's stuck off your flange bolt off, or well, I guess it's a banjo bolt. There's a flange on it, so kit comes with two new copper washers. You can see there's an offset on the connection point here. You want to make sure you put the flange side of the bolt on that side that's closest to the hole, and then the other side will go on the caliper. So the side with the angle pieces are going to go on the caliper, at least in this instance. Banjo bolt with the copper washer, put it on, make sure that it's on the right side. Get the other copper washer, go ahead and get this started and put on. And according to the Haynes manual, I believe it is 32 foot-pounds. Yeah, 32 foot-pounds is the torque that you want to put this to. There we go. There we go. That is our caliper assemblies rebuilt. Pretty straightforward. What I'm going to do is they say to let the hose hang out straight for 30 minutes. So just get it into a position for that, at least 30 minutes, and then afterwards try to break the memory on it any more than what it has, and it should be good to go. So that is at least the rebuild portion for the calipers. I still need to do the wheel bearings on the truck. I still need to do the rear hose. There's one rubber hose in the rear that I need to replace. And then also the cylinders for the rear drum brakes. And the master cylinder, but that's going to be probably the last thing that we do. Alright, so I have taken the drum off the right rear of the truck. As you can see, here's the whole drum assembly. I did take it off previously to check and see if the tensioner was seized, which it was not. We thought that might be the issue. That's why everything kind of looks somewhat cleaned up, because we sprayed brake cleaner and whatnot in here. But here's the cylinder. That's what's going to be replaced. I'm not going to show the process of taking this apart. I think there's people on YouTube already that have better videos. I know there is, because that's what I used to figure out how to take this apart and put it back together. I'll link the one I used down below. But yeah, I mean, essentially you just take the whole drum assembly apart, and on the back side there is the flanged, or not the flange, but the connection from the lines to the cylinder, and then there's two bolts. So you just undo the connection and the two bolts. This pops out, pop the new one in, and put everything back together. So this is what it looks like old. I already did the other side. I'll show you what the new one looks like on the other side. And here's what the new assembly looks like on the other side, or not new assembly, but the new cylinder. So you can see there's one shiny piece and all of this brake dust coated material. So that's what it'll look like. It's really not hard. The hardest part is actually putting everything back together, but once you do it a few times, it's not too bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the other side done. All right, y'all, quick update. Got the brakes on the rear done on both sides, so I went ahead, put everything together, put the wheels on. So the back's pretty much good. Just have the one line to do in the back, and that is it for the rear. Alright, so this hose right here is the rear hose that we're going to be replacing with the new one. What we're also going to do is, once we get this disconnected, we're going to apply some air pressure to the front and try getting all of the old fluid out from the system. So we'll put our bucket down and try getting all of that excess fluid out. Alright, now that we just blew this line out, you need to take this line off. If we look up here, you can see that there's a clip above that red piece. and we need to take that clip off and then do the flare, or use the inline wrench to disconnect the lines, and then we can put the new one on. Alright, as y'all can see, we have the rotor assembly off, which is what houses your bearings. My dad went ahead and cleaned everything out. We are replacing the bearings on the passenger side because this is the side we were having issues with play, and we pulled everything apart and there were some grooves and edges on the bearings, so we decided, yeah, it's time to replace them. We don't want that. So got the new bearings. We're gonna go ahead and install them. Pretty much like earlier, there's videos on YouTube that are going to be better than how we can explain this. I believe 1A Auto is one of the sites I use, or one of the channels I watch, and they have a lot of good information, so link them down below. But we're going to go ahead and get this on. I already got the brake caliper installed on the driver's side, got the new hose connected up, everything's good with that one, so that one's ready to roll. Get bearings in this, put the rotor back on, and then, you know, just get everything else installed, and then we'll go back up top and install the master cylinder. Alright, we just finished up with the wheel bearing on this side. Everything is good and ready to roll, so I'm going to go ahead and put the brakes on, or the caliper and brake pads and everything, hook the line up, and then we'll go up top and start working on the master cylinder. Alright, and now we have the caliper on this side, so next we will be priming the new master cylinder. So I'm going to let my dad explain that because he read the instructions, I did not, and then we're going to go ahead and get to it.
Okay, all we got to do is put the fluid in the master cylinder. There's 2 plugs in it now where the lines hook up. Let the fluid gravity drain through till you get some trickling out of it. Then you put these plugs in it and tighten them down. And then you take something in the end of it, like where the brake rod pushes it, and you push it until you get it where you can't push it hardly at all. I mean, it won't go in. It should go in like 3/4 of an inch to start with, and you get down, it won't go in 1/8 inch. Then you put it on, pop those off, and put your metal lines on. You try to do that fairly quickly.
Alright, we just got the new master cylinder in. Not hard, just 4 bolts, this plug, and then you got the lines on the other side. This is where you have to be quick when you pull the plugs out to get these lines in, but I mean, you're probably going to spill a little. We did, so just do the best you can. Now we're going to fill it up and start bleeding the brakes. Probably not going to show that. The camera's at 12%, but this is pretty much going to be the procedure. Alright, so we went ahead and got the brakes bled. Everything is good on that aspect. We did have a small leak at the master cylinder, but we got that fixed. We're going to let the truck sit overnight, and we're going to bleed the brakes again tomorrow. Also, it's a little late today to even start the truck. The truck's loud, it doesn't have exhaust finished. It's 9:30. I'm not going to drive through the neighborhood or anything to test them out tonight anyway, so we will pick this up tomorrow and see if the brakes work. Alright guys, it is the next day. We're back out here to work on the truck again. Like I said, we're going to bleed the brakes one more time before we actually go to test them out. So get them bled real quick, then put the wheels back on, bring the truck down off the lift, and we'll give them a test and see if they work. Hopefully they do, and if they do, we'll go take them for a little test drive through the neighborhood real quick. Alright, the truck's ready to go. I'm going to start it up and try backing it up a little bit and see if it stops. First, pump the brakes before we even start moving. Make sure that those are, you know, good and ready. Then back it up just a little bit and press the brakes and make sure that everything works before we actually go on the test drive. as of right now, it is not working too well. Could be because we don't have enough vacuum yet, but not sure. It's not working quite well yet. So do some troubleshooting, see if I can get the truck to stay running and drive it a little bit, and then we'll see what happens.
Step in wrong.
Alright guys, well, unfortunately that did not fix our issue. So what you just saw was my dad trying to, run the truck a little. We just put a new tune in it for at least idling, and we were trying to see if we could build some vacuum pressure in there and see if that would resolve our problem. But as of right now, we have not figured out what this issue is. So currently the brakes are unfortunately not working the way we want them to be. It's the brakes just aren't engaging until the very end of the throw. I'm not quite sure what that is, and we still need to troubleshoot that, unfortunately. So I hate to end the video like this, but sometimes this is just how it is. Where I could end the video somewhere, and we'll solve it another day. I mean, we can't drive this truck on the street without brakes. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.